Can we just cut to another game, another match? Is that
maybe?
Maybe.
Jimmy Forgus. Oh, this guy crushed me at GP Minneapolis like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, he was really nice, and I was really mad when I lost, and then I had to cool off, and he was really cool about it. I had a really good deck, and I 0-3'd with it, and I was really mad about it.
Oh, turn 1 Blood Moon, scoop him up.
There you go, Magus of the Moon.
It's Magus, so it's not quite a lock.
But Jimmy understood. When he saw my deck, he's like, I understand why you're upset. And he's like, I'll see you in – he was really cool. He's like, I'll see you in Dallas, and I hope that our team does well, and they're off to a great start. So, yeah, I know Jimmy Forgus.
All right, so if this was actual Blood Moon, the game, I think, would end on the spot.
Correct.
Tannen's only cards he can cast after that are Young Pyromancer and Lightning Bolt. But because it's Magus, he can play either Dismember or Lightning Bolt in order to get things done.
I don't how does this work?
It's all abilities are turned off. It's like you don't take shockline damage anymore either.
Yeah, I think this is favorable for Jimmy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think Tannen just double-checking. It is a newer rule, although I believe under the old system, City of Traders worked the same way. It was a trigger one when you played another land, but it was turned off by Blood Moon.
Dismember. Back in it.
Which member?
Come on.
This one.
Come on. It's a Tommy Ashton joke.
Yeah. It's also a Todd Anderson joke. Look, I am not a father, but I make plenty of dad jokes.
That's true. That's true. Here's an Underground Sea. So Tannen can play Magic again now.
Looks like Tannen's on a pretty big mulligan here. He was on the draw. I think he's only got 4 cards in hand. Maybe a mulligan to 5 here. He's going to be tough to fight through.
That's a mulligan to 5. Here's a Chalice for 1 for Jimmy.
If I'm not mistaken, Tannen has a Spell Pierce in hand, but if Jimmy has another Spirit Guide, he could pay for this.
Well, Spell Pierce, he can just pay for the 2 mana with the City of Traders, man.
I'm dumb.
How many top 8s do you have?
Look, it was like Blood Moon a minute ago. Give me a break.
It's a little tougher up here, Todd, in the coverage booth than out there playing the games. You get used to it.
I just don't think that's true.
It's just really hard up here.
We literally spent 10 minutes talking about Jimmy John's and
really
Instagram.
Hard up here. I need people to believe this is hard.
No, it is very, very taxing.
Okay.
I can't say curse words. That alone takes up 10% of
your vocabulary, yeah.
No, not my vocabulary, just like my brain power to not say anything.
Have you seen my Twitter?
Get me in trouble.
Have you seen my Twitter? I've been known to use expletive.
I literally was paid by Brian Kibler to use expletives against people.
That did happen last year. That was fun.
It was the same night that Alabama lost Iron Bowl, and I thought our season was over. And then luckily we got voted into the top 4. But
Nick Saban paid him off. Does that happen?
No, a bunch of teams lost that should have won, including Auburn. If Auburn beat Georgia, I don't think we would have got in.
So Nick Saban paid the refs to make sure those teams would lose, and then paid the BCS.
Yeah, they paid them to lose by like 20 points or whatever. You know,
it's a pretty corrupt system. That's all I'm saying. Here's a volcanic island.
All right, Tannen here can combo like Spell Pierce plus Daze. The Chalice isn't super backbreaking just because he has like Gurmag Angler in hand, which he can likely play next turn, but it still shuts off future cards that could be in his deck or after he draws them.
Well, there's your Spell Pierce plus Daze combo to take care of the Chalice, so the Chalice will not resolve, and that'll be it for Jimmy Forgus. Let's head back over to Tannen. We know he's got a Volcanic Island in hand. Let's see what else he's got going on here.
So Tannen really needs to stick a threat before another Blood Moon or another Chalice of the Void hits the battlefield. These cards are very tough for decks like Grixis Delver to beat once they hit play. Magus of the Moon being the exception just because most removal is able to take care of it.
There's the Volk, and here's the real big fish. So Tannen's got a clock on the battlefield. He'll pass the turn back over to Jimmy Forgus, who will draw. He is without red mana. He had a Magus of the Moon to start things off, but Tannen took care of it. Here's Chalice for 1 yet again. This time it's going to resolve. Tannen needs a Throne of Geth.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance. Let me take a look at his deck list. So that was like the sideboard tech for the Death Shadow deck, but it's something that can go into most Delver-type strategies.
Now, I like this. Jimmy had to make a pretty big sacrifice here. He started by playing the Chalice, then he played a Mountain, had to lose both of his City of Traders, floated a little mana, played an Ensnaring Bridge, and now that Gurmag Angler not looking so good. As here's a Young Pyromancer, that is a card that can work around the Ensnaring Bridge.
Yeah, once Jimmy's able to empty his hand, though, it's going to be very tough for Tannen to actually do anything. However, with only access to 1 mana, now drawing the second, there's a chance he gets stuck with a bunch of 3-mana cards in hand.
These snow-covered mountains, huh? A little Jim Davis School of Magic here from Jimmy Forgus. Tannen is going to play a Thoughtseize, which is going to be countered via Chalice of the Void.
Weird. He's like breaking the rules of the game, but no, cards have like just let me do this. Just let it happen. It's fine.
We got a Ross Merriam Elemental token out here on the battlefield now. Here's an attack for 2. Down to 16, I believe. Actually, no, it's going to be 18 here for Jimmy. Pluto Delta pass the turn back. Let's go back over to Forgus. He'll draw a card.
I know the Thoughtseize was countered. I just wanted to make sure the life total is reflected as countered and not dealing any damage.
3 mana. The Rabble. Haven't seen this one in a while.
Yeah, Rabblemaster is a super good card for this deck. The tokens can usually attack through Ensnaring Bridge in matchups where Bridge matters. But also, if you just play it on the first turn with a 2-mana land and a Simian Spirit Guide or Chromox or something, it just piles on damage so fast. And you need something like that against combo decks where you need to close the game before they find their answer to stuff like Chalice of the Void or Blood Moon.
And I'm on the hunt here. Tannen's deck list. He was talking to me in between rounds.
This game is over. I wish we'd switch to a different match.
Well, thank you.
I'm just being honest. He can't. Okay, he has no way to get Ensnaring Bridge off the battlefield. The only way he can win the game, he has no way to get Chalice of the Void off the battlefield either. Like, he can't Lightning Bolt him to death, and he's never going to be able to attack with Gurmag Angler. His only out is if Jimmy just stops casting spells for some reason. Tannen's able to generate a bunch of tokens over the next, 30 turns or whatever. But, I mean, the game's over.
Well, maybe something weird happens. I once said that the game was over, and I ended up having to do a cartwheel because of it. So how about that? How about that, guy?
Look, just because you think a game is over doesn't mean that it is.
Yeah, well, maybe you're about to learn a little something here in the coverage booth. Coverage noob.
Yeah.
Some strange things happen in games of Magic sometimes.
You want to put lunch on it?
I do not have any interest in paying for your crappy Jimmy Johns.
Thanks.
No, I do not.
Thanks for that. You got Jimmy Johns too.
That's because that's where we're going. Right? I'll probably eat half of my Billy Club. Gotta save some room for those tacos later.
Yeah, Tannen's in a lot of trouble here. First step here is to get a True Nemesis or another Gurmag Angler that can actually just block the goblins without dying. Because he's trading away most of his side of the battlefield to get rid of both the Rabblmasters.
Rabblemaster strikes me as a good win condition for this deck.
Oh, it's perfect. It just fits so well with Ensnaring Bridge. And, it costs 2 and a red as opposed to a red 1. So it works really well with stuff like Ancient Tomb and City of Traders.
Beatdowns. Maybe this is what I should play in Legacy. Ooh, 3 Sphere. That one's hard for Belcher to beat, too. I played against that yesterday. So the night when I was posting all the Belcher pictures, I was killing it.
Yeah.
And then you might have noticed I didn't post anymore.
Oh, yeah. I figured you either got bored or you lost a bunch. And in either scenario, I don't think you were going to continue to play
It's tough to say what happened. It's tough to say.
Could go either way.
Maybe I was winning so much I couldn't keep up posting all the photos. Did you consider that? 4 mana. Fiery Confluence. We are done, and Jimmy Forgus is going to win game number 1 here over Tannen Grace. Mono Red Prison up a game over Grixis Delver.
Yeah, Fire Confluence is always the card I lose to when I play a Delver deck against Mono Red Prison. You can have, Flip Delver of Secrets, Young Pyromancer, a couple other pieces of clock. Your opponent plays Chalice of Void, you're like, that's fine. Already have all this pressure on the battlefield. And then you just play Fiery Confluence. And then all your stuff dies.
Yeah,
and you take some damage.
Normally I only see that card in Cube, making its way into Legacy, though.
Yeah, it's like a 3 or 4 of in all of these Mono Red Prison decks. It's so good. It's diverse in what it can do. It can sweep creatures. It can be a finishing burn spell if you've done some chip damage with some early threats. But on top of that, it can also just destroy artifacts. It's a very good card.
Tannen Grace's sideboard, 2 Diabolic Edict, 2 Abrade, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Surgical Extraction. Here come the one-ofs. Price of Progress, Null Rod, Marsh Casualties, Pithing Needle, a Grim Lavamancer, a Liliana the Last Hope, and a Fusterstorm, not Flusterstorm.
Fusterstorm.
Fusterstorm. We'll get that L in there. What do you want?
So Flusterstorm doesn't have a lot of targets. It's specifically instants and sorceries. Spell Pierce, obviously very good when you're on the play because it can hit things like Blood Moon, Transfer, Chalice of the Void, but Flusterstorm not. I think Liliana the Last Hope is okay just because it doesn't get hit by Chalice. It gives you a means of, I guess, interaction, like a way to actually win the game through all the disruption, so long as it's not a Blood Moon. I like, let's see what else. A Braid, obviously a slam dunk, just because it can kill Chalice. It costs 2 mana, so it gets around Chalice for 1, which is a really big deal. And worst come to worst, you can use it to kill, a Goblin Rabble Master that's eating you up.
You want to do a lunch bet?
About what?
You have to agree to the terms first. Would you like to do a lunch bet?
Sure.
I bet you cannot tell me the text of Scab Clan Berserker.
Okay.
Go ahead.
See, you messed up. You should have asked first, because I 100%. Okay, because I 100% know exactly what it does.
Go for it.
All right, it's 2 red and 1. It is a 2/2 creature. It has haste.
Okay.
And it has, I believe the ability is, I believe. Oh man, what's the name of the ability? When it hits the opponent, it gets a counter, and then the second ability triggers based on whether or not it has that ability. My head is telling me Renown, but I don't think that's it. All right, give me a second. When it has the counter on it and is, I'm going to say Renown for now as a placeholder, because I'm going to think before I lock it in.
Okay.
Whenever your opponent plays a non-creature spell, they take 2 damage.
All right, let's go to the tape. Can we take a look at Scab Clan Berserker, please? It is red, 1.
That's what I said.
I believe you said 2 and a red. Judge's
All right,
ruling?
no,
he said red, 1. Okay.
And I even got Renown right. Renown. The ability that doesn't matter. So, Renown was a non-creature spell. Yeah, I even did that right. And there's no clause on the specific casting cost, too. I feel like I said it exactly right. That's a really bad bet.
All right. Jimmy Johnson's on me. What'd you order?
15 sandwiches.
Yeah. All right.
No, I actually bought lunch for the whole crew.
Why would you know that card? Why would you? I've watched you play Magic for the past 5 years. I've never seen you play a Scab Clan Berserker. I don't know why you would know that card.
I have my reasons.
Okay. Well, is there a lot of Scab Clan Berserkers collecting dust in your basement?
No, that would be
hashtag MTG Finance.
That would be Fevered Visions, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
I got a lot of Fevered Visions.
Looks like Tannen's going to take a mulligan. Jimmy's going to do the same. Let's go back to Jimmy's sideboard now that I've lost my Jimmy John's lunch bet. 4 Fairy Macabres, 4 Scab Clan Berserkers, 3 Kozilek's Return, 2 Abrades, 2 Sorcerer Spyglass. You want anything?
Honestly, no. But I think Kozilek's Return could be okay, just because Young Pyromancer is one of the few cards they can cast and actually start using under both Chalice of the Void and Blood Moon. So there is a potential to want that, just a means of cleaning things up. However, I think that's more of a sideboard card for something like Elves combo or another deck that would just spit out a whole lot of creatures that would be problematic for you. It's also very good against Death and Taxes.
What's the deal with you and Patrick just knowing random cards that you have no business knowing? I don't get this. I just don't understand.
Like, we can do this all day.
Patrick knowing Ulamog's Nullifier for no reason.
All right, the way you're going to get me in one of these is to ask me a card that was played a lot in a limited format from over a year ago. I will never be able to answer, ever.
Right.
But if it's a rare that has ever shown up in a deck, I would say there's like a 90% chance I know what it is.
All right.
Even if it's an uncommon or a common. Like if it has shown up in the sideboard or main deck of a constructed deck in one of the big 3 formats or the old extended format, there is a very good chance I know what it does.
All right.
Might not know the keyword. I was not sure on Renown. I thought Renown might have been a conspiracy one. You know?
Looks like Tana might be going back to the well one more time while Jimmy is happy with his hand. That may be the case here. So we will, yeah, it looks like Tannen's going down to 5 here. Though, yeah, he just lost the last game on 5 cards. This is a bad matchup for him, too. So let's take a look at the StarCityGames.com newsletter real quick, shall we? Where we want you to subscribe for your source for Magic the Gathering news. We got highlights from some of our very best articles. This week we had a little highlight from John Finkel, Kai Budd, and the very well-spoken Brian Gottlieb of the GAM podcast. Upcoming SCG Tour dates and locations, Possibility Storm puzzle solutions, and you can find the StarCityGames.com invitational qualifiers and game nights near you. Best of all, it's super free. Go to StarCityGames.com/newsletter for more information. Sign up today.
Just want to say, I actually teamed with Brian Gottlieb and Jerry Thompson for Grand Prix Vancouver just a little while ago.
It was Toronto.
Toronto,
You're
excuse
welcome.
me.
I know where you are, and you don't.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know where you're at always.
I feel so attacked. Brian is one of the coolest people I've ever met. That was the first time I ever met him. He was really nice. The only beef I have with him.
Ooh, here we go.
He's a vegetarian.
Yeah. That's the beef you have with him?
No, that was intentional.
I see what you did there.
Look, I had a lot of dads growing up. That's not my fault.
Yeah, I see what you did there. What is this? Fun card. A fun card. Brainstorm.
Brainstorm, untap, play Young Pyromancer, and never play another spell.
I'm doing this.
Look, can we? If this resolves, can we just move to another match?
Nope, you must suffer.
Why are
just
you
like
doing
Tannen.
This?
I want you to be able to. So we are in the business of experience duplication. That is one of my. That is one of the things that I tell people about coverage. So I want you to feel this experience just like Tannen is right now.
Yeah, you know how many answers Tannen has to the card Blood Moon in his 75?
I believe the answer is 0.
Actual 0.
Well,
if it sticks, he has Young Pyromancer, he has Lightning Bolt, and he has Dismember. He has no basic lands at all. He's literally got.
He has a basic. He has an island.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Take that.
Sorry.
Walk it back.
I'm sorry. Chalice the Void on 1 shuts all that down too, though. So who cares?
Get him, Tannen.
Can we start a Twitter poll right now that says, "Would you like us to switch to a different game?"
Get him, Tannen. I'm rooting for Tannen.
Is that something we can do?
We can't.
I'm rooting for Tannen as well. He's one of my good friends. But this is.
You're supposed to be unbiased in the booth.
Did I say at any point that, you know, if Tannen doesn't? Okay, no, you're right. I probably should be unbiased. I was gonna say something. I just decided not to.
You know what? This is one of those.
I hope he loses. See, you're turning me backwards.
Tannen's gonna get him. Oh, Tannen's angry. Ross is probably saying something.
Because he mulled the 5 and can't do anything.
Ross is probably saying something. Bothering him. Oh, what's
Ross
this?
is like, why'd you keep that 5-card hand?
That's game.
It's like, well, because it was 5 cards and it could cast spells.
Let's take a look at Fiery Confluence.
1 to all creatures and 4 to you. Bazinga. Please don't ever let me say that again. I hate the Big Bang Theory.
Good. I didn't have to say anything. You took care of that all by yourself. I'm proud of you. 4 mana, sorcery. You get to choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Deals 1 damage to each creature, 2 damage to each opponent, or destroy target artifact. Great cube card. Now the game might be over. Now that Jimmy found a way to kill him.
At least it's quick.
That's correct.
Tannen didn't draw Dismember. Okay, game's over.
Another mountain island.
That's the thing about Roundmaster. The first hit, okay, 1 damage. The second hit goes all the way up to 6. Because the Roundmaster gets pumped by the other goblins. And then, you know, next turn it's 8.
Let's get an Eric Smith token out there.
Why?
It's not like he's Smith.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play Magic anymore. Really.
All right, he's gone.
That's not true. Eric's a cool dude. He's been playing a lot more recently.
Jimmy Forgus with Mono Red Prison takes care of Tannen Grace playing Grixis Delver. The power of a Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon and Chalice of the Void. Really bad matchup there for Grixis Delver. Maybe that deck's the truth.
It's very good. I've lost to it a lot, but I also play decks that don't have a lot of basics in them. So.
Does that deck beat Black Red Reanimator?
No.
No, right? You did that in Seattle?
Yeah.
You played in Vegas.
I played in Vegas,
Played in Vegas. You went 12-3?
Seattle I played Sneak and Show, but I did actually lose to the Mono Red Prison deck once. He played a turn 1 Goblin Browmaster and a turn 2 Blood Moon, and it was very difficult for me to be fast enough to beat that.
Okay.
Black Red Reanimator I think is not super bad, just because you have Lotus Petals to go off, and the red mana, you know, is not that bad because you get to still cast Faithless Looting.
I kind of want to do the Black Red. You went 12-3 in Vegas with Black Red Reanimator. Is that good?
It's fine. People got really scared of it when they banned Deathrite Shaman, but at least from my side, when I'm playing Black Red Reanimator, I'm not that afraid of Deathrite Shaman, just because you can have like Chancel the Annex to slow it down for a turn, but you also have the ability to just turn 1 them at any point. So it's the combination of like Deathrite Shaman with hand disruption and graveyard disruption after sideboard and counter spells, you know. It's the combination of all the things.
All right, let's take a look what's going on here between Timothy Thomason and Ross Merriam. For Ross, he just attacked with a Mantis Rider with 3 Exalted Triggers, thanks to those Noble Hierarchs. And Timothy Thomason, former Open Champion here in Dallas, he activated his Moorland Haunt to block. So he's removing some creatures from the graveyard to make some 1/1 spirits that fly. Meddling Mage is naming Path Timothy Thomason's image of the Phantasmal variety is naming Noble Hierarch, and now we got to figure out what Ross is going to be copying in just a moment. That should update you on everything that's happening in this particular game.
I would bet more Jimmy Johns that it's a Mantis Rider, but that's just me.
Do you really want more Jimmy Johns, though?
Not really.
There you go. There you go.
Take some Waffle House, though.
We would all take some Waffle House. I think they have Waffle House in Texas.
They're friggin' better.
I think so.
Where am I supposed to go tonight when I'm done doing Gaston?
Should be a worldwide chain. I wish they had them in Seattle. Ross is doing a lot of this, a lot of that. Maybe talking with Brendan. Here's an unclaimed territory. All right, here's Rattle Chains. Take 1 to cast that. Blue-White Spirit's a deck that Todd Stevens wrote about this week on the premium side of Star City Games. Mantis Rider was copied. No free Jimmy Jones.
Rattle Chains, it targets only spirits when it enters the battlefield, I believe.
Let's take a look at old Rattle Chain.
I'm not sure if it can target your opponent's stuff, so that's something to keep in mind. If it can target your opponent's stuff, Ross needs to be careful, like never to copy a spirit with Phantasmal Image, because then it could just die to a Rattle Chains.
Rattle Chains battlefield targets spirit, gains hexproof from turn to turn. You may cast spirit spells as though they had flash.
Yeah, so he needs to be careful not to copy his opponent's spirits with it.
What's this? Taking a lot of damage.
He's casting some spells.
What is this?
Drogskol Captain, probably another Drogskol Captain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mantis Rider here. Actually, did we get a confirmation on the Phantasmal Image from Ross?
Ross's is also, it's a Mantis Rider.
Okay.
So 2 Mantis Riders over there. And Ty Thomason's is a Noble Hierarch.
Yes.
That's how he was able to cast the other Drogskol Captain.
I like clone effects on Magic Online, not so much in real life. On Magic Online, they just magically become the thing.
So this is interesting. This Rattle Chains is a 2, 3, 4,
5-4
with the Exalted Trigger.
Yep.
Pretty good attack.
Yeah, I mean, Ross is in a weird spot here. All the creatures now that Timothy has played double Drogskol Captain are not only hexproof, so they can't get hit with Meddling Mage, but they're all +2/+2. So every attack is going to be for a pretty hefty chunk of damage. Ross can, of course, attack with a 6/6 Mantis Rider thanks to Noble Hierarchs, which he is more than happy to do. And Timothy has to either double block and lose some power on the battlefield or take lethal. Or chump block.
Yeah, so I guess the option here is he could double block with, like, a Drogskol Captain and a thing. He could chump block with the Spell Queller, and then Ross gets his Meddling Mage back.
Yeah, if I had to guess, this is probably going to name something like Collect a Company, since one's already named being Path to Exile.
Well, do you think Ross knows that he's just blue-white and not Bant?
I thought he was Bant.
No, he's blue-white.
Oh.
He's got a Horizon Canopy on the
I just
battlefield.
saw, when I was looking at the deck list, I saw Horizon Canopy. My apologies.
He named Collect a Company.
Nice.
He might think he's Bant, and he's not.
This is game 2?
Yeah.
Ha.
That Horizon Canopy might be throwing him for a loop.
Ha. Got him.
So that block is interesting because that gives Thomason a creature in the graveyard for his Moorland Haunt, and those Moorland Haunt Spirit tokens are 3/3s, but it just gives him enough ammo to be able to keep chump blocking while still attacking in the air. So he's going to start by activating the Horizon Canopy, and here comes Rattle Chains again.
So I think Ross is okay here to just take another hit. Well, this is getting him dangerously close to all of Timothy's creatures being lethal. So I guess he's trading a single Mantis Rider for the Rattle Chains, and that's okay. The problem here for Ross is that if he only attacks with one big exalted creature, Timothy gets to activate Moorland Haunt to block turn after turn after turn.
Drugstore Captains right now are 3/3s. Ooh, Ross might be going on the ground. I like it.
Yeah, the one naming Collector Company is jamming in here, I believe.
That's a 5/5, so it's a lethal attack, so you probably just have to block with the Noble Hierarch. Yeah.
This Moorland Haunt making 3/3s right now thanks to the
two captains.
The two captains, yes.
Yep. Cavern of Souls. Ross will pass. Ty will make a Spirit Token. All right, let's untap. Let's draw.
So he can attack and threaten lethal. If he has a blocker, or he does have a blocker, so he can attack and threaten lethal. That'll force Ross to trade Phantasmal Image for a Droxkull Captain. Maybe it's not time yet. He can do that next turn as well and still hold back 2 Droxkull Captains.
So there's an attack for 3. Ross is going to fall down to 6. And now, Thomason will just pass the turn back over to Merriam. Merriam will draw. Got nothing else to do. Flooding out a little bit here.
Oh, I think he... Oh, no. Oh, it's Bugler. I thought it was Thali's Lieutenant. If he hits Thali's Lieutenant here, that might seal it. Spell Queller.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yikes. Well, now he has to choose between blocking with Spell Queller or blocking with a Droxkull Captain, so it's not over by any means.
Yeah, because this is lethal attack again.
Yeah, and he can still block with the Mantis Rider on the follow-up.
Also, this makes all of the creatures a little bit smaller. I'm curious if you're supposed to...
Just jump block, maybe?
Well, I'm curious if you're supposed to Spell Queller that, or if you're supposed to Spell Queller what comes after the Bugler.
Honestly, I think maybe you should just not have attacked with a Spirit last turn and threaten to use 2 Spirits to double block the 5/5 Meddling Mage.
That's a good point. What's this?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Selfless Spirit here. Huge.
Is this lethal? Yeah, that's lethal. Nice play there from Timothy Thomason as he's going to win this game against Ross Merriam. Blue-White Spirits and Humans getting ready here for game number 3. Again, Todd Stevens did write about this deck on the premium side of Star City Games. He said coming into this tournament this weekend, this was one of his 3 choices on the weekend. And right now, it's certainly serving Timothy Thomason well, former Open champion. I don't know if you know this, Todd. Fun fact, a couple of years ago, we were here. I was doing coverage with Shaheen Surani back when he was doing coverage, back in, I think, 2014. And Ty Thomason, he didn't just win an Open. Have you won an Open where you just destroyed everyone? Where like you had like the best deck by far, and like I remember you won that Standard Open with like Jace Architect of Thought, that control deck.
I mean, I lost 1 match in the Swiss. Back in the one-day Opens, you can only lose 1 match. I don't think I ever went undefeated in an Open, though, in any of the ones I won. I did think that that deck was better than every other deck in the room.
Okay.
But I think, you know, you could still lose to, like, a Mono Red aggro deck, or Zombies was really popular in that tournament. I don't know. I think the most advantage I've ever felt in a tournament, though, was when I was playing Blue-White Delver and I won my first Open.
Okay.
Like, I just knew the deck inside out. The mirror match, like, I had my sideboard. Basically, I had my sideboard to the point where I was in X, out Y in every matchup, and I knew exactly what it should be.
Okay.
And I also played Porcelain Legionnaire, which I'm 99% sure I was the only person playing Porcelain Legionnaire.
Was it good
and it was
then?
just good. I had like 3 or 4 sort of red-white War and Peace.
There he is.
Come on.
I
Give me a second.
I knew you'd get
Look,
there.
I am
Berserker guy.
I have literally tens of thousands of Magic cards, like, just sitting in my head, and it's hard to dig through that catalog quickly sometimes.
You got to be quick here in the booth.
I'm not Google.
You got to be quick here in the booth. People can't wait.
Anyway,
they'll jump right on you.
Porcelain Legionnaire, very good with Sword. I just wanted another cheap creature to play, and it was the best one.
So the point of me asking you that, Ty Thomason, I think it was 2014, one of my first Opens, covering it with Shaheen, Legacy Open. He's playing a little card called True Name Nemesis the first week it came out, and no one else had it. And he was just.
I had it.
Wait,
okay.
no, like he was just playing. It was like the first weekend it was legal.
Sure.
And he basically played Stoneblade with True Name, and just everyone was like, I can't win. So every time he just played True Nemesis and put equipment on it, we're just like, I don't even know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just all done.
The first, so I don't know exactly where that tournament was, but the first tournament where True Name Nemesis was legal that I played in, I think was the Grand Prix either the same weekend or the weekend after, that Owen Turtenwald won with Blue Red White Delver.
That's Jess Guy.
No, well, I recently watched that match
Jess Guy
on YouTube, and it said Blue Red White Delver.
Jess Guy Delver.
Now it's Jess Guy Delver.
It's in Washington, D.C. where Owen
Just
won.
like I used to play Bug Delver.
Ah!
Right? That's what it was called.
You used to play Salty Delver.
Yeah. Anywho, I also had 3 True Name Nemesis in my deck that weekend. I remember having to buy them. They were very expensive. I was not very happy.
It was actually one of the easiest tournaments I've ever seen someone win in my days of doing coverage. The ultimate easy tournament was when Ivan Jen won SCG Oakland in 2015. But this one for Ty Thomason, that was easy mode. No one had anything to beat True Name that weekend because no one was sure how good it was yet. Turns out it was really good.
Yeah, it turns out a 3-mana, 3-power creature that can't be targeted, blocked, or dealt damage. Not so bad. With things like Umezawa's Jite.
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes Magic's a really simple game. Sometimes it's really hard.
Sometimes they blatantly print cards for Legacy just to sell bad Commander products.
Hey, the Commander products are great. I am not going to listen to that. I like the Commander products quite a bit.
You know who has ever cast a True Name Nemesis in Commander?
Someone
who opened that box of cards and played a game of Commander.
There you go. Perfect. It's working. It's working. You saw me sniffing for you, Salty? Are you sad?
No, I just got the sniffles.
Strong sad? Get it? You get it.
Yeah, I get it. It's my handle on everything.
You get it. Horizon Canopy, big follow-up as Ross falls down to 19. What we got? Meddling Mage, chanting loudly. We'll see what it's naming us here as an attack for 2.
I think the jig is probably up. I would guess that Timothy didn't play an Aether Vial in games 1 or 2. Therefore, Ross thought he was still on Bant because Bant is the more popular version of this deck, or it was, or has been for the last couple of weeks and months. So now that he's played the Aether Vial, though, I would guess that Ross knows that he's just blue-white.
Well, the first name is Path to Exile, which is generally Blue-White Spirit's only removal spell. So Path to Exile has been taken off the table. And perhaps Ross should read more of his teammates' articles that he would know that Blue-White Spirits is the new hotness. Ross going to take a point of damage. Is it time for a Mantis Rider? It is. Counter on Champion of the Parish.
All right, so what happens if Mausoleum Wanderer comes in here? It's a 2/2, 1 power, and 3 toughness from the Phantom. Could effectively trade the Phantom for the Mantis Rider or the Champion, and I think that that's fine.
There's a simple block.
I like that attack. It's not always easy.
Ooh. Boom! Gutter Ball, huh? This got a lot harder for
Oh, man, I love gut shots so much. You have no idea how happy that makes me. No one ever sees it coming after combat either. Oh, man.
You get a lot of people with gut shot in your day?
What's the
Blue-White Delver days?
What's the best card you've ever killed with a gut shot?
My opponent.
Mine's a Gristlebrand.
What?
Bolt gut shot, your Gristlebrand. Sir, has happened in my team.
Game?
I did.
Wow.
Because he couldn't. Because if he drew 7 cards, he was going to die to my 2 flip Delvers and my Tarmogoyf.
All right. That's the hard way.
Ooh.
That's doing it the hard way. Gut shot was in against a Gristlebrand deck? What was that about?
I don't remember. I'm probably just lying.
So what's that about, man?
Maybe I had too many bad cards. I'm just lying. That was a made-up story.
All right. Made-up stories with Todd Anderson.
You're welcome.
I just debunked that story real quick.
I don't know. I just wanted to make gut shot feel real good.
Make gut shot great again?
I want to make gut shot feel as good as it makes me feel.
How do you think Timothy Thomason feels right now? He's a 2.
I feel like he knows he's dead.
He's a 2 life.
He's got to have some Nibblegast Herald here. That's not it.
That's Spell Queller.
That ain't it.
Nothing to violin. Boo. That's going to 3 for sure. All right, we need some Drug Skull Captains like right now.
Yeah, if he main phase Drug Skull Captain and gets like an image to copy it, he has a good chance of just gumming up the board here. Ross not really doing a whole lot with his mana last turn. Etherval is a scary Magic card.
It is. Right now, it definitely is.
Yeah, Ross has to know that there's probably multiple 3-mana spells in Timothy's hand, so he's probably going to be able to flash in 2 creatures here, because when Vial was on 2, he didn't put anything onto the battlefield.
Time to have a chat with the teammate, Tannen Grace. He's already lost his match, unfortunately, for Team BCW. Jimmy Forgus took care of him with Mono Red Prison. So now, this is one of the best parts of team-constructed tournaments. It's time to ask some questions, because Brendan DeCandio and Colin Roundtree, they're busy getting ready for game number 3 and playing game number 3. And it could certainly come down to their match.
Ross has to be real careful here. If this Manus Rider attacks in and Timothy actually has a way to pump it, then he just gets to eat the Manus Rider for free. The good news for Ross is that all of his creatures are technically lethal. The only cards in his deck, or the creatures in his deck that aren't lethal are like Kitesail, Freebooter, Noble Hierarch, you know. So every time he plays another creature, Timothy's going to have to play a creature to check it.
What we got now? Bugler.
I have a feeling that Timothy has another Spell Queller.
Yep.
You don't often flash in a Spell Queller without having another, like, to do nothing if you don't have a second one in your hand.
So now the question is, Ross is thinking, how do I want to attack? Because if there's a Drug Skull Captain, also Ross doesn't really want to lose Meddling Mage because he's naming Path, and Thomason probably has at least 1 Path in hand.
So the thing here is so this is actually not as bad as I thought it was for Ross. If he shoves in here, if Timothy has a Draw Skull Captain, you're trading battlefield for battlefield.
But he gets a Bugler after.
Yeah, he gets a Bugler after.
Yep.
So this isn't so bad, and I think that this block from him is exactly what needs to happen. And Ross gets a Bugler activation or trigger, and then still has effectively lethal on board, and Timothy has to keep matching every creature he plays.
What to take with the Bugler?
Staticaster's not a bad one.
No, it's generally good against Spirit Stack.
That could be especially good if Timothy doesn't have another Lord effect. He's already gone through a Supreme Phantom and a Drog Skull Captain.
Yep. All right, Vial's going to stay on 3. Thomason, not a lot of life to work with. We have a Phantasmal Image copying Bugler. Well.
Yeah, it's almost like Bugler's good and everyone should be playing it.
Stop.
Look, I'm a fan of any deck that plays Phantasmal Image, and I am a bigger fan of decks that put Phantasmal Image to work. And Bugler puts it to work.
So Drog
Skull Captain puts it to work. Not really. Not like Noble Hierarch or Meddling. I mean, Meddling Mage is okay against like the combo decks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
like the best Phantasmal Image deck of all time, man.
Kitesail Freebooter.
Happy to copy it. Happy to copy it.
You want to battle this one?
Not right now.
Blue-White Illusions.
Not right now.
Best Phantasmal Image deck of all time.
Selfless Spirit.
Turn 2, copy a Phantasmal Bear.
Yeah.
You know how many times I did that?
A disturbingly high number.
I would guess in the dozens, if not hundreds.
So Ross is a Staticaster. He could ping that Phantasmal Image and attack for lethal. That'd be game.
I mean, do we know what was revealed off of the Bugler? I missed it.
Selfless Spirit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have a 3-mana creature to put in off the Aether Vial, that could just be game over. And most of the 3-mana creatures either bounce or chump block the Bugler. So it's a pretty high upside play. However, if Aether Vial is going to put in another Spell Queller on the is a Staticaster, that could be bad because Staticaster is one of the better cards in the deck.
Ross just going to pass. No attack, no Staticaster. Obviously, Staticaster has Flash, so he can just do it whenever he wants. So now, as an example.
It's going to basically force him to Spell Queller on his own turn to use up all his own mana.
So it looks like Staticaster is in there. Okay, draw. Picked up a Hallowed Fountain, I believe, did Timothy Thomason.
So a lot of the illusions you see today being printed have the caveat of whenever they get targeted by a spell.
Yes, not an ability.
Old illusions are whenever they're targeted by a spell or ability. So even though Timothy has access to a Path to Exile here for the Staticaster, its activated ability is still going to kill the Phantasmal Image.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what's coming next here for Thomason, who's, again, in quite a bit of trouble. Now he's teaming up with Jimmy Forgus.
You know what's going to be really unfortunate?
What's that?
When Colin just wins the game, his game 3 in, like, the next 3 minutes. We're just, like, super deep in this game. It's super close. It's a very good game. It's just like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. I won. And Timothy's going to go, oh, thank God.
Yeah. I was in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Jimmy and I are just talking about nothing right now.
It matters so much, though. If Brennan wins his match, this game becomes everything.
All right, Path to Exile is going to go after Staticaster. Image will bite the dust, and I'm sure an extra land here for Ross doesn't hurt.
Yeah, he's been stuck on 3 mana for a while, and he's got a few cards in hand. This is going to allow him to maybe double soul next turn with either 2/2 drops or a 3 and a 1.
Image is going to copy Bugler again. Another Selfless Spirit.
You know, Selfless Spirit's not actually that good right now.
No, it's not.
So, because he has the Ether Vial on 3, so that means he's just missed twice on finding a 3-drop off of the Militia Bugler copies. So, honestly, here, if Ross goes, if he has some way to target the Phantasmal Image, he's probably just going to try to go for lethal and hope for the best.
Hollow Fountain tap, pass the turn back, and we know Thomason has 2 copies of Selfless Spirit in hand and 1 mystery card as he fans out his hand. Merriam will draw. Looks like he picked up a copy of Mantis Rider. That might make it real easy.
Yeah. Ross also has Freebooter in hand, which he really wants to play at some point to see what the last card is.
Well, it looks like he might be leading out with Freebooter. So what is your mystery card, Ty Thomason? Spirit, Path. Well, I think this just got really easy then, right?
Yeah, because now he's having to chump block. And looks like next turn, Ross is going to have 3 lethal attackers versus Ty Thomas's 2 Selfless Spirits and a Vial on 3.
A Seachrome Coast is the draw. And that is not going to be enough to get the job done here. This is a pretty tough matchup here for Blue-White Spirits, unfortunately, as there's the 2 copies of Selfless Spirit. He'll pass the turn back. And it looks like Thomason just did not have enough, as Merriam will draw. He's going to play an Ancient Ziggurat. I'd be a little surprised if he doesn't deploy Mantis Rider.
He has a 2-drop. He's going to copy Lieutenant first.
Sure. 2 counters will go on the Lieutenant. Here's a Mantis Rider. He's all in. Counter there. Counter there. Everybody, let's do this. Ross Merriam going to win this game and match here over Timothy Thomason, and that means it all comes down to this. Colin Roundtree, Brennan DeCandio, black-blue mid-range players here. And we have what looks to be a pretty cluttered battlefield. Looks like a standard match to me. We'll check and make sure our life totals are correct, but I'm looking at Roundtree side of the battlefield. I see a Hostage Taker, an Arguel's Bloodfast, and a whole bunch of lands. He's at 9 life. For Brennan DeCandio, a Liliana, Death's Majesty, and Arguel's Bloodfast of his own. Champion of Wits, the Scarab God, a zombie, another Champion of Wits. We'll figure out what that face-down counter is here in just a moment. Brennan going to figure that out for us as well. Looks like it may have been a Saproling from, what is
Fungal,
that?
whatever?
Yeah, Fungal Infection?
That one.
All right. And then Brennan has a whole bunch of lands. Both these players do have some cards in hand as well. That's your game state update. I guess Fungal Infection's kind of cute. Kills Glint Sleeve Siphoner. That's so adorable. That really is. He's got 1 in his sideboard.
Kills Bomat Courier and then can chump block a Hazoret. That's a pretty big deal.
Might be a better card than people think.
No, it was a card when I first saw it. You know, throughout Magic's history, there have been quite a few things that give a creature -1/-1. We had Afflict, which saw a good bit of limited play because it was 3 mana, -1/-1, draw a card, and drawing a card being one of the premier, thing tacked on to spells. Like drawing a card is very desirable, and having any utility in drawing a card is usually a good thing. Ooh. Yikes!
Another hostage taker.
That's 2 hostage takers on 2 the Scarab Gods.
It's pretty important.
It is very important. This is a big deal. Although, looks like Brennan has an answer.
Vraska's Contempt.
And that's it.
Going to do it. So, Brennan DeCandio is going to win this game and match over Colin Roundtree. The teams will shake hands, but it's the team on the right, Team BCW, once again, Tan and Grace, Ross Merriam, Brennan DeCandio. Winner, winner. Jimmy John's maybe for dinner if you're not careful.